the centre of allegations of police corruption and is said to have acted as a middleman between senior police officials and underworld figures. Alfara Mushwana reports.
Police ballistic experts are analyzing and collecting physical evidence from the red Chevrolet, which was supposedly shot at during Brown Mabotja's alleged attempted hit. They've applied black polish and tape over the vehicle, collecting fingerprints and determining the number of bullets that struck the car. Police spokesperson Atlenda Mate says Mabotja was asked to open a case but refused.
So we are still waiting for Mr. Brown Mabotja to present himself before the Vosloorus police station as promised. We are told that he refused to open a case last night, citing fears for his life.
Police ended up opening an attempted murder case after Mabotja refused to do so himself. The businessman assured the police that he would present himself to the Vosloorus police station by 8 o'clock this morning to submit a statement. However, 5 hours later, Mabotja is still a no-show. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Vosloorus.
At the same time, in Pretoria, embattled crime intelligence boss Dumsane Khumalo claims the takedown operation at the home of Sandton businessman Katiso KT Molefe was deliberately not shared with the Hawks. Khumalo has told the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry that the investigation revealed a member of the Hawks, only identified as Zungu, was allegedly working with the Big Five cartel. On December the 6th last year, members of the Gauteng Counterintelligence Operations Unit and Political Killings Task Team conducted 2 operations at the homes of Molefe and tender tycoon Vusumuzi Matlala. The Commission previously heard that members of the Hawks arrived at Molefe's Sandhurst mansion demanding to know what was going on. It's alleged that former Hawks boss Godfrey Libya instructed members to find out what was happening at Molefe's home after it emerged that was a possible bogus police operation taking place.
During our investigation and intelligence collection, we had picked up that there might be those individuals from DPCI environment that are involved.
Khumalo, who led both operations at Molefe and Matlala's homes, elaborates further regarding the concerns about possible collusion.
There is an individual, a Zungu, that is from Toms of DPCI, that is working with the cartel. So even before the takedown, we had that red flag that we need to protect this investigation against DPCI.
Let's shift our focus to the courts now. The Johannesburg High Court has ruled that the conduct of Operation Dudula of blocking foreign nationals from accessing clinics, schools and hospitals is unlawful. In a judgment handed down today, the court has interdicted the group from performing the various actions. The case was filed by Kopanong Africa Against Xenophobia, represented by the Socio-Economic Rights Institute. The group wanted the court to prohibit Operation Dudula's actions, which they argued violated constitutional rights and the rule of law. Speaking on 702 earlier today, Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi says he met with Operation Dudula previously to warn them of the legal consequences of their actions.
This was to be expected. I did meet Operation Dudula and I told them that whatever concerns they have, some of which might be legitimate, by the way, but I said they are going about using a wrong method.
To this now, the Independent Electoral Commission has set aside 2.1 billion rand for the upcoming local government elections. The elections could be held between November 2026 and January 2027. At a media briefing at the IEC headquarters today, the Commission says it is preparing for every possibility. Over the years, the Commission has complained about funding cuts which have limited its work, but IEC Deputy Chief Electoral Officer of Outreach, Muzeri Mawetu, says consultations with Treasury and the Finance Minister are ongoing.
At this stage, we do not feel major constraints in us delivering a credible election for the country. With the budget available, we will do so.
And the death toll from heavy rain in Vietnam has now risen to 40. A week of flooding and record rains battered the region, and experts fear the devastation could continue, with Typhoon Kalamagi expected to make landfall in the early hours of Friday morning. Vietnam is prone to heavy rain between June and September, and scientists say human-caused climate change is making the situation worse. The disaster agency says nearly 80,000 homes have been flooded, more than 10,000 hectares of crops have been destroyed, and more than 60,000 cattle have been killed. Gold is trading at $3,992.92 an ounce. The rand is at 17.45 to the dollar, 22.81 to the pound, 20.09 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $64.89 a barrel.
Leaving the Joburg CBD, there's slow-moving traffic in the Selby area. That's the M2 westbound between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. Also heading towards Germiston, leaving the Joburg CBD. There's an accident seen on the M2 eastbound near Heidelberg Road, slowing down traffic.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng with showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 20 and 22 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Controversial businessman Brown Mabotja has refused to open a case after allegedly being shot at in what he claims was an attempted assassination.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja
Live, streaming countrywide
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Eight minutes after 1 o'clock. Welcome to 702 Afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja, on a 702 Afternoons on this Tuesday, the 4th of November. And we are going to be talking in this hour around the weird, wonderful, interesting, distasteful, embarrassing conversations that are happening in your neighborhood, apartment, complex, WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups. I stumbled upon a very interesting conversation that was happening in somebody else's complex WhatsApp group. And I said, I have to share because I'm pretty sure many of you are finding yourselves experiencing interesting conversations. Our tech feature, we're going to chat about the tech behind toy forecasting. Catherine Jacoby, marketing manager at Toys R Us South Africa, joins us for that conversation. In the second hour of the show, the series edition for the month of November, and I'm so looking forward to this one. We'll be talking about the surrogacy journey in South Africa. Make sure you tune in for that one. We'll be taking you through over the next couple of weeks the journey of surrogacy. For those of you that would like to explore that for yourselves, but also just to be aware of what some couples and individuals face going through the process of surrogacy in South Africa and what it means to be carrying for another or having another carry for you. We'll be joined by Dr. Paul Leroux, a specialist in reproductive medicine. Then we wrap up with our car feature. We'll be chatting all your technical car issues with Nicole Lowe, technical car expert. And we'll also be touching on oil viscosity and what those numbers on the oil can mean. And then we open up the lines to all of your technical car issues. Get in touch with us. Give us a call. 011 883 0702. SMS us 31702. Tweet at Relebogile M at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 Afternoons and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Mabotja
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
I've heard many interesting stories about the conversations that happen in neighborhood WhatsApp groups, complex apartment WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups, community groups as well. Now, maybe they don't happen as often on Facebook because the community groups have admins who have quite strict rules where your posts won't go out unless they've been approved by one or two of the moderators that are in the group doing so. But in WhatsApp, it's almost like anything goes. Now, I have heard of two very interesting scenarios. The one was what my friends experienced. They moved into a new neighborhood. Now, for the purposes of this conversation, it is important that I mention the race. They moved into a neighborhood as a black couple with their children, where the neighborhood was predominantly a white neighborhood. So anyways, there they are in this neighborhood. All is good and well, lovely. They've been added to the community group. And of course, this is very important to them, especially around just being aware what's happening in the area, be it water issues, power issues, or even just security issues. So one day in the community group, there is a message that comes through that says there are two black men who, like suspicious looking black men loitering in the area. You know, please be careful. Be aware, you know, just this is what's happening, and they're mentioning exactly where they're seeing these people. And then a few minutes later in the group, after everybody's kind of concerned, a response comes through saying, my son and I went for a walk. So they were the two suspicious people in the area. I mean, how do you really come back from that? And it's people that they know. The second scenario was the one I stumbled upon on X. IVN Sambo started this conversation saying when she gets bored, she goes to her estate WhatsApp group. There's always some unnecessary drama in that group, is what she says. But this is one of the responses from Lazy Home Cooker, as she refers to herself. She says, we have 30 apartments here and we share the washing line. Someone posted that he was not happy with the panties and underwear he saw on the washing line and asked that the ladies invest in good lingerie or just keep their underwear inside. And then the conversation evolved where some asked why people were not washing their underwear at all. This was a WhatsApp apartment group conversation. Are these the things being discussed in WhatsApp groups when you're sharing a washing line? Like, how appropriate is that? I mean, I thought it was absolutely hilarious and ridiculous because, my guy, what do you mean that you're not happy with the underwear you're seeing on the line? And can the ladies please invest in something better because they all have to see that line? And these are some of the things that are happening in these community groups and in these complex estate apartment block groups as well. Here are some more things that have been said in these groups. There is one where their WhatsApp group, then they created a separate group, a pet group, because every day my cat is missing and that group is entertaining. So now there's a subgroup. I didn't even know that you guys have subgroups. I've never been invited to a subgroup of a WhatsApp group, but there are subgroups. Another person says, I sometimes lie and say that there's a dog in the house. Then you will see those against dogs coming and those with dogs as well also coming. I mean, I'll be honest, I can't stand WhatsApp group drama. Like, I will address the issues that need to be addressed because I will be in the WhatsApp group to be able to sort of see what's happening with issues for my tenant. But even there, I'm like, I don't like unnecessary drama where it's now a fight about who left the gate open, and nobody considered, for example, that maybe the gate is not working or is broken and it becomes a massive issue. Or if there's a concern that, there's some random person in the yard, it's like, that's the gardener. You just didn't recognize them today. Another person says also what happens in one of their WhatsApp groups is that they are saying, Zama shootings that are now normal. That's normal? Those conversations that are happening? Okay. Issues related to service delivery and crime. The latter sometimes is just hoax alerts or highly exaggerated. Joni Badenhorst says, often someone will post that their cat went missing. Then a few hours later, someone will post that a cat has been found. But these two don't talk to each other and realize the found cat is the missing cat. Then the owner will post a few hours later saying, we're still looking for the poor Henry. And then the other guy will post a few hours later saying, we've now taken the cat to the SPCA. Guys, no. So much drama. I cannot believe that is happening. Okay. For the past couple of weeks, people have been celebrating Diwali with fireworks. Some organized events and some backyard light-ups. Every single night, someone will post, oh my goodness, did you hear that loud bang? Are those gunshots? Did a transformer blow up? No, Karen, calm yourself. It's Diwali fireworks, which happens every single year around this time. And just a heads up, it'll be Guy Fawkes as well. These are some of the conversations that are happening. Feel free to be anonymous because some of the subject matter might be a little bit sensitive. So I want to hear from you. 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Has this system of tenders really served us?
I don't think so.
So why are we not changing it?
Clement, that is beyond my pay grade because it depends on the chief procurement officer, treasury, etc. I personally, I'll be very happy if we look at another system. For instance, we are going to buy 1.4 million articles in hospital. As a chairperson of the National Health Council, I demanded that we don't go for a tender.
The Minister of Health, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
The Johannesburg Philharmonic Orchestra presents the second concert of the Spring Symphony season, featuring iconic works by Mendelssohn, Elgar, and more. Under the baton of conductor Michael Repper, the orchestra is joined by award-winning cellist Sandra Lead-Hager, performing Haydn's Joyful Cello Concerto. The concert takes place Thursday, the 6th of November at 7:30 p.m. at the Linda Auditorium. Book your tickets through Quicket to avoid disappointment.
Whether it is a CCMA referral, problems with a mechanic, unfair blacklisting, or an uncontested divorce, Clientele Legal offers professional legal services to all South Africans. Our plans are affordable, and you receive up to 745,000 rand worth of legal services per year. We cover civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Our nationwide legal teams are standing by to support you 24 hours a day. Plus, all plans include a 5,000 rand bail benefit. Join today. SMS LEGAL to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Collaboration works best when it's human first, AI enabled. Vodacom Business gives your teams the tools to share ideas and deliver big projects. To meet, chat, and co-create. With 24/7 local support always in reach, we connect people, not just devices. Search Vodacom Business Enterprise applications. Together, let's build the extraordinary. Vodacom Business. Further together.
WhatsApp Relebogile on 072 702 1702.
20 minutes after 1 o'clock, and we're chatting about the interesting, weird, maybe inappropriate, or even uncomfortable or distasteful conversations happening in your neighborhood, apartment block, and complex WhatsApp and Facebook groups. I want to hear from you. Feel free to be anonymous. 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. There are many experiences that are happening, and maybe, I don't know, I'm actually not in a community group now that I think about it in my area. I'm not sure why that is the case. I have all the neighbors now. Do I need to be in a group? Should I be in a community group? I'm not sure. I think it might be more trouble than it's worth, and then you find yourself stuck with that situation of trying to figure out when do you leave and how do you leave quietly without people seeing that you left the group. Lebo, at our complex, it has been quiet lately, but the month is still new because we are predominantly a complex with millennials. So we don't take anything seriously, even when there's water or electricity outages. The most memorable thing is when somebody suggested the singletons create a separate group to find love or hookups. So the group was created and a few connections made. We even had a success story when the couple went on a date, and I think they're still together. That was close to 2 years ago. Lerato and Centurion. Lerato, don't do it. Can you imagine having a failed relationship between two people living in the same complex? Unless it's those, what are those massive complexes that people refer to as adult res? Kitty Blyde. One of those massive, where it's got like, it looks like 1,000 units. Unless it's that, I'm not sure it is a good idea to take that kind of Baldwins. Yo, my bad, Blight, if it's not you. Askis. Yo, Lebo, on our neighborhood WhatsApp group, by far the biggest gossipers are men. Banna, Baseba, too. Gossip about everything from Dumi. I don't know, gents. Are you guys gossiping in your WhatsApp groups? I thought when men gossip, it's just like to their wives or to their partners or maybe their work wives. I'm not sure. Anonymous says, as siblings, we have a subgroup. People love these subgroups. Absolutely love them. Michael Khongwan in Soweto says, I belong to a church WhatsApp group. Every sentence is punctuated with, thanks God, amen. And the pastor is the group admin. I am tired. Angeke, I am leaving. Hi, boo. Hi, Relebogile. Ke kopa this and advisors. Okay. And please let me be anonymous. I'm a taxi driver. I'm always on the road. So what I'm doing, I refuse to give... Hey. Is it safe for me to read this WhatsApp? Is it safe? Noni. I think let's go to the voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Relebogile. You know, regarding the WhatsApp street drama, in my street, there's this one individual. He's always complaining, and then I don't know. People were so tired, and then in his yard they threw, the vibrators, like a bunch of vibrators. Yo, it was so bad. The way he was so angry. Yeah, it was drama for days.
Here talking about this community WhatsApp group. I stay in South Crest in Alberton. Yeah, that South Crest group. Every time, if you are a black man walking around at night or at any moment, they'll send a message in the group, say, there's a Bravo man walking around. It's always there's a Bravo man walking around. Or there are two Bravos. Bravos referring to a black person. And that irritates me so much.
What do you mean? Bravo man. I've never heard of this in my life. So Bravo as in like, no, can somebody please explain this Bravo man thing? I've never heard of this in my life. I'm very confused. On Facebook, Ntabi says, in our complex, they always fight for parking spots. The other day, one guy took a picture of a Kia Picanto and they wrote on the group that the owner must come and move their car. People went on to ask as to why does this guy not pick up the car and put it somewhere else? You guys are so mean. You guys are so mean. Yo, okay, Paul says, In my neighborhood, some people complain about high noise coming from taverns from the morning till the wee hours, while they complain about something that has just been going on forever. And maybe that tavern was there from when you moved to begin with. Maro Makoshi says, the trend this week on my WhatsApp groups is cable theft and people who are hijacked stands that are only fenced. In a village, people are forced to build even if they don't have money yet. Matata. Felo says, apartment people living lavish life while we're being bothered by Mustend. Okay. Yeah. And I actually, let me be honest, I never took that into consideration. Please do share those experiences for those of you that are not dealing with apartment issues or dealing with issues of stands, as you are saying. The Queen Puti says, the drama that is happening in our WhatsApp group, some have also been removed from the group and the heat is heating. Ma'am, share the tea. We need to know the details. Why are people being removed from groups? Lyndon says, someone accused an old lady in the block of flats where I live of murdering her husband a few weeks ago. Meanwhile, her husband had gone to Cape Town to visit family. The police even turned up to ask the poor old lady for proof of life, and she had to video call her husband. Guys, no. Murder. Guys. Guys. Your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Good afternoon, Relebogile and 702 listeners. This issue of sharing washing line. One day I did my laundry. I did my washing. Then I hanged it on the washing line. Then someone came to hang hair pins and brass with the same line where I hanged my clothes. While there were a lot of free lines that she was either supposed to hang her things, but she chose to come and hang her things on the same line with my washing. I was not impressed by that. Please keep me anonymous. Bedford View.
Anonymous. Do you know, and I don't know if you guys experience this, sometimes if you see things being hung, then you feel like you need to continue hanging next to. So did you want her to hang her things? I mean, was her underwear touching your clothes? Is that, I'm trying to understand the issue. What made you unimpressed? And maybe those of you that live in apartments and complexes that share washing lines, should underwear maybe just be hung in the house? Maybe that's what needs to happen. Because, also, don't they say that bakao lawyer ka underwear? So maybe it's not even safe to be leaving your underwear on a public line that you're sharing with 30 other apartments or whatever the case may be. Hear your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Relebogile team. I'm not gonna say my name because I know the person is listening. In our side, it's packing. I remember my friend, my colleague who's definitely listening. I went to knock on the guy. Hey, Munna, Vula, please go and park where you're supposed to park. Please, I don't want any trouble. Please go and park where you're supposed to park. In the group, I hear a voice note from the landlord. Please, everyone must park where they are designated. I'm like, hey, I was packing. It's an issue.
Hi, Relebogile. Great show as always. Hunad here from Cosmo City. I'm all for community WhatsApps where we ask to be added into them. Like you give permission to say, this is my number, please add me. Marakikupa WhatsApp, he created this thing where they ask you for permission for you to enter a WhatsApp group. I am sick and tired of being added into WhatsApp groups that I know nothing about. And then you ask, there's only one admin. The admin is the only person that can write on the group. Now I need to go and message the admin privately and say, why am I in this group? Why did you add me? No, Please, Clay. Nah. People need to stop this thing. And if you want to add me into a group, ask me. Madala side, listen, group so are you okay being it? Because now I leave quick and in a hurry.
It sounds very stressful. As far as I know, you can adjust your settings on WhatsApp that forces people to send you a link and then you can decide. So you click the link, it shows you what the group is about, and then you can say join. I could be wrong. I stand to be corrected. I see more of your voice notes and messages coming through. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. It's just after 1:30, time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. Police say if it turns out that Northwest businessman Brown Mabotja staged his alleged attempted assassination, he will face a charge of defeating the ends of justice. Mabotja allegedly survived a hit last night in Vosloorus, Ekurhuleni when unknown gunmen travelling in a white bakkie shot at his vehicle. Mabotja's name has been mentioned at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry and Parliament's ad hoc committee investigating alleged police corruption. Witnesses have pointed to his alleged influence over senior police officers. Deputy Police Minister Polly Bushielo has told Parliament that she thought the directive to disband the Political Killings Task Team was fake. Bushielo has been giving evidence before the ad hoc committee, which is probing allegations of police corruption in Parliament today. Last week, her fellow Deputy Minister Kasal Matale also told the committee that he initially doubted the authenticity of the directive by Minister Senzo Mchunu on New Year's Eve last year. And the Johannesburg High Court has ruled that the conduct of Operation Dudula of blocking foreign nationals from accessing clinics and schools is unlawful. In a judgment handed down today, the court has interdicted the group from performing various actions. The case was filed by the Kopanong Africa Against Xenophobia group, represented by the Socio-Economic Rights Institute. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 2 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you are leaving the Joburg CBD heading towards the Germiston area, bumper-to-bumper traffic on the M2 eastbound between the Crown Interchange and Heidelberg Road. Otherwise, the rest of 702 land not looking too bad. No serious accidents have been reported at this hour. However, look out for those faulty traffic lights in Edenville, Modderfontein Road in Van Riebeek. There's also traffic lights not working. That's in the Rand Park Ridge area at Beyers Nordia and the N1. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
If South Africa has its white genocide, well, then Nigeria has a Christian one, says the US President Donald Trump. It would appear the American president has his sights on Africa's two largest economies. What will this mean for Abuja?
The response by many people is disbelief that the president is saying these things. On the other hand, it's also kind of a reach out from the Nigerian government to say, okay, you want to help, partner with us.
Philip Fanikar, the editorial director of Scroller Africa.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Congratulations to the latest Powerball Plus multi-millionaire who scooped over 6 million rand on Friday after playing on their banking app. Play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 23 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday. And you could be next. Buying your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda Pusha Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Smart Steve from Momentum. Hello.
Steve, you moved to Momentum. Congrats.
Thanks.
It's Tasha. Listen, the fast-paced life in Josie just isn't working for me. I'm migrating to the Cape.
What does that have to do with life insurance?
Well, you know I love a glass or three. And I want to age as graciously as a smooth Merlot, not a box of car Bordeaux.
Naturally.
And I need my critical illness cover to pair with those chilled vibes.
Of course. With Momentum, you get the most comprehensive critical illness cover in the market. You could say it's a full-bodied offering.
I'll toast to that.
Chat to your financial advisor about Momentum's critical illness cover. Momentum, protecting your journey to success. Momentum is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
What do partners of the Gates Foundation do when facing the world's toughest challenges? They keep going. From discovering a plastic drape that helps detect excessive postpartum bleeding faster, to developing better bed nets to kill malaria-carrying mosquitoes, to researching an RSV vaccine that could save hundreds of thousands of children. For every problem, there are people who prove that progress is possible. The Gates Foundation, partners of human potential. Learn more at gatesfoundation.org/keep going.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Norman, describe this piece of land for me, please.
An iconic site right adjacent to Nelson Mandela Square. As you move through the library area, the land extends all the way through to the Gautrain, where the entrance of the Gautrain is. You don't get a vast piece of land of about 4 hectares, Sandton City, which I believe is the capital of Africa.
Norman Rath, CEO of Roll Auctions and Sales.
The Money Show.
The Money Show.
On K-Talk.
Join the conversation.
The Money Show with Stephen Curtis is brought to you by ABSA CIB, advancing Red Rocket's ambitions with Discovery Green as the off-taker to power Africa's future through affordable, renewable energy.
Your voice.
Your life.
Your afternoon radio.
On 702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabotja.
24 minutes to 2 o'clock. We're talking about interesting conversations happening in your community, complex, apartment, estate, homeland, village, WhatsApp groups and Facebook community groups. 011 883 0702 in the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. And it's, some of the things coming through. I'm heading to X. Levi says, Relebogile, why are you doing this to a Picanto? It was not me. It was not me who said that if the Picanto's in the wrong parking, why don't you just pick it up and move it? It wasn't me. I said, I'm just the messenger. Zali Kazi says, the Bravo thingy comes from the airline lingo. A for Alpha, B for Bravo, C for Charlie. You get the gist, right? I get that part. What I didn't understand is how did we get to a point where we are using that lingo to refer to people's races? To say bravo as in two black men, two Bravo men. Like, if everybody then understands the code is black men and you're trying to mask something, why not just say black men? Like, that's the part I'm not understanding. Gino also says the Bravo man references from the phonetic alphabet. Bravo, in this case, is short for black. Matters of the Heart says, Relebogile, this is the washing line. So they basically have posted, just imagine the worst looking type of underwear, men and women's that you can, saying that is the washing line situation and issue. Ooh. Prof says, I've been in Muff Town for 3 months now and got to know that there's no person referred to as a drug addict or nyaupe. Here they're called bundles of joy. As the saying goes, spare the rod and spoil the child. Yo, I didn't realize it was that real. We go to the lines. We've got Paul in Pretoria. Hi, Paul.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks, and you?
Good. Hey, mo Pretoria mo is WhatsApp group.
What happened?
Why say WhatsApp voice ya me o tlhaelang are batswadi dumelang ra tseba batho ba baholo. And mo boshigo re tsa dintho tsa batho ba baholo. Re kopela noise nyana eo ge e go fast re na le bana tle.
Oh my God! I need to translate. So basically what you were saying is in the WhatsApp group, there are those that are of the older generation who are saying, folks, we know that at this time you do the things that grown-ups do at this time. Please, can you lower the volume?
Please,
can I tell you something funny, Paul?
Yeah.
So, in some countries, I experienced it in France a few times. When you're walking in the streets, you just hear it broad daylight. Nobody flinches. They just keep eating their baguettes and drinking their coffee. It's like, it's not a thing. Yeah, it's not a thing. In the areas I went to, let me be specific. The areas I went to, it was not a thing. It's like I was there being like, how am I the only person hearing this? and everybody was just continuing with their lives. More of your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Relebogile, I am a counselor based in the city of Ekurhuleni, and I administer about 8 different WhatsApp groups. And I can tell you now, some of the things come out there are very shocking, mostly amusing, and most of the time, obviously, it's service delivery because of the work that I do. But what's also funny about these community WhatsApp groups is that the gossip that goes in there, shwashwi after shwashwi, you will hear things. Some people might be gossiping with their neighbors and forget that they are recording and send it to the group. So community WhatsApp groups are something very interesting, and I think someone must write a thesis on them because it's just a different subject matter on its own. Thank you.
I think we come from another generation. The things that are happening, I don't believe this. I do not believe for a second. But let me tell you, I'm just like you. I'm entertained. I'm laughing like you. Yo, keep on talking, girl. This is so good, entertaining.
Relebogile Mabotja. Relebogile, one of the most funniest things about these groups that I always see is them selling. When they start selling stuff, they've got a lawnmower that doesn't work anymore. They know it doesn't work after 10 minutes it's been on, and then they want to sell it quick to someone, and they always use the group. For example, I saw another one selling a laptop. You can see that it's old, but because they're playing a movie and make it look like it's HD, and then they're like, it still looks like brand new, you can buy it, and you're like, no, rather give it away. But hey, what can we say? These groups, they help us with information, but yeah, we always have to keep on clicking so that you don't have a lot of unread messages.
My underwears got stolen, and the guy next door had the whole underwears. He was my suspect, and I asked his wife, and she denied knowledge of my underwears. But I knew because I had seen his underwears hanging that they had holes, and mine, they were so neat and nice briefs, and they disappeared without a trace. Up until today, I don't know where my underwears went to. It was 7 of them that I hanged.
Guys, what happened? Guys, the fact that he says he knows the suspect and that his underwear had holes. Were you also monitoring his underwear to know he's the suspect? What is going on? Guys, hang your underwear in your homes. Hang your underwear in your homes. Like, what's going on? Here are more of your voice notes.
I can probably tell you many stories about our WhatsApp group over here in our community over here. But the funniest is when there was a big fight over, they usually use Bravo men, as you were saying, for black men. And the one time they were complaining about a white man, so they put WM. Man, to the white people in the area come, why do you have to say it's a white man? No. Meantime, I'm just sitting over here thinking to myself, wait a minute, you always say it's a black man, or it's a BM, or if it's a Bravo man. Anyways, I can tell you so many stories about our group. Tabi, so here.
Hi, Relebogile. Hi, team. Ours is classic. There's a neighbor that was caught on camera throwing rubbish into another neighbor's driveway. Unfortunately for her, she was caught on camera, and the neighbor shared the video into the neighborhood WhatsApp group. And then the caption was like, what must now happen? I can't even imagine the tone in the voice. What must now happen when an elderly woman throws rubbish into your driveway? I was just waiting for the perpetrator to respond. To this day, she hasn't. I'm just in those WhatsApp groups for the humor, because I'm telling you, there's never a dull moment in our group. Cheers, great show.
The one about throwing trash into somebody's driveway, to me, you are starting war. It means it's on. It's not even going to be a discussion. As long as I saw you do it, you must know it is on. The trash I will be preparing to throw in your yard. And I'm patient, Chim. A good 6, I will wait. I will even go to my friends with children, get dirty diapers. It is war if you were to do that in my driveway. Okay, more of your messages. A couple of you, again, explaining the Bravo situation. So one says, calling people Bravo has nothing to do with race. Whites are referred to as whiskey, males as mics, and females as foxtrots. These are well-established practices in security lingo. That's from David. Thank you so much, David. One person says, I had to pull aside on the road because of these underwear issues. I can't deal. Vanessa says, help me, Relebogile and wonderful afternoon team. That aggravated caller about the underwear holes. I'm stuck in laughter. I can't even breathe. The best callers in the land, man. I'm absolutely enjoying your show. Another one says, Relebogile, I stay in a complex. Our WhatsApp group is either people are fighting over their brats parking spots. It is just too much guningi. And the last one that I will read, in the community where I live, the local security company has a WhatsApp group. Gosh, the drama on weekends. Someone complained about the hawker that has been selling biscuits on the bridge for the last 5+ years, claiming that he attracts unsavory characters. Then someone said he's making an honest living. Then the conversations took a turn, bringing up the fact that there's no honesty if he isn't paying tax. A couple of messages later, an often vocal and intoxicated lady posted a voice note along the lines of the parable of the splinter and the plank in each other's eyes. Then everyone started to ask how much she had to drink. Shem, that drama. And then somebody is asking, Kyle says, can somebody please let us all know how to exit a WhatsApp group without being seen? You can't. Like, it doesn't, unless you just do it in the middle of the night, but then that's the first thing they're going to see when they are there. Last one. Relebogile, thanks so much for an entertaining topic. I haven't laughed so hard in such a long time. And I thought our WhatsApp group was dramatic, Mara. Wow, these stories are showing me, Hore, we are a tame bunch. Thank you so much for your calls, your messages, your voice notes, and your WhatsApps.
702
Tech Feature.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
A rather complex situation, though, isn't it, Dr. Ndo? Because on the one hand, you have some political parties that I think are fairly clear about why they're in, and there doesn't appear to be much dissension within the ranks. So to what extent are the leaders who going there with an absolutely rock-solid mandate to stay there?
When parties contest elections,
yes,
they contest because they want to be in power. They want to be in government. And what the GNU has provided is to make them...
John Coleman.
3 to 6 on 702.
To sell or not to sell? That is the question. Whether selling a car, bike, boat, or bakkie. We Buy Cars offers instant payment and a stress-free experience. Simply complete the form on webuycars.co.za for the best offer. Trading in or shopping for your next ride? Explore 12,000 plus vehicles online or visit We Buy Cars in store. Whether buying or selling, head to We Buy Cars today.
Access to the internet is vital for any country to grow. That's why the recent 6.75 billion rand digital infrastructure deal that Standard Bank Corporate and Investment Banking facilitated between Telkom and an Actors-led consortium is so transformational for South Africa. It unlocks growth and provides internet access to underserved communities who will now have access to the internet for the very first time. Search CIB Stories of Impact to watch the full story.
Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Lock into roaring rugby action this season with Hollywood Bets. Bet 50 Rand or more on any Vodacom United Rugby Championship fixture and you could win a share of 300,000 Rand in cash, betting vouchers or prizes. This includes Smeg bar fridges, macro vouchers, a Sharks captain run or a player circle experience. Only the toughest team will prevail. Bet now and let the rugby rumble begin. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
702.
Tech feature.
9 minutes to 1 o'clock, and our tech feature for today, we're chatting to Catherine Jacoby, Marketing Manager at Toys R Us South Africa. And we're discussing the tech behind toy forecasting. 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Catherine, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Lebo.
What is toy forecasting?
It's a very exciting time of the year, and obviously we look at a lot of data points. Some of our inspiration comes from global sales patterns and pop culture moments that really guide us on what the biggest trends are going to be for the year. So our team have been working almost a year in advance on what the top toys are for 2025, and we can't wait to show you.
So would that, for example, be your team knowing that a Barbie film is coming out, meaning that there'll be quite a lot happening in terms of merchandising and toys, and then is that form part of the forecasting?
Yes, absolutely. We look at various inspirations, whether that's a global movie release or it is as simple as a play pattern trend, whether that be a collectible or blind boxing, which is very big this year. That will inspire what toys are coming in.
Okay, so how then does the AI determine, and maybe you can separate for us at which point AI steps in and at which point you have human beings being the ones that participate in the forecasting?
AI has become a very powerful tool, so we have to utilize it to our strengths, and it looks through various data points to see what the digital footprints are telling us. So our kids posting content on TikTok about a certain product or toy, what is the upcoming song and play pattern that is trending in the social environment. So AI can assist us in looking at where the trends are and what is sort of the buzzword or buzz toy in the digital landscape. But there's nothing that replaces the purpose and benefits of play and the excitement and the imagination around a product. So that still requires human innovation, and we have to blend the mix of both in order to get the mix right.
How do you prioritize, Catherine? I mean, Toys R Us being such a massive, massive brand, do you have individuals that focus on certain age groups, like those that are maybe your ECD or your kids learning to sit? You know, how do you sort of categorize it?
Yes, we do. Our team is broken up by various categories. It's more by a category of product, and then within that category, there are various age groups. So, for example, in the large dolls category, there are dolls for the first dolly that you have is potentially a soft body doll, and then you move up onto dolls that are functional and that can move and sound and lights and that sort of thing. So those within that category, there's various products that are applicable to certain and more suited to certain age groups. So that applies across cars, across action figures, across outdoor play products, and we always make sure that we highlight what the suitable age is and what those developmental benefits are.
What are some of the trends you are observing just in terms of how parents are buying differently? I think I have a 4-year-old, and sometimes I look at toys and I try to go as gender neutral at times as possible. And I struggle at that age group because it's like it's blue and superheroes for boys, and then the girls it's like the unicorns and the dolls.
Yes, there always are those sort of more girl or boy focused toys, but we find that parents feel less guilty purchasing an educational product or a product that inspires a child to think out the box or to use their imagination, to role play. I really enjoy a role play product during, that sort of 3-4 years old age, because they love to learn from watching their parents and creating their own stories and their own little dreams come true. So whether that's a musical instrument, which is also very gender neutral, or it is building blocks, which is a big key product that is, Lego really spearhead that category. And it has a lot of good benefits in terms of helping a child thrive and what they can learn from that play. So I think parents are really leaning towards products that have also repeat play. So it's not just a once-off, play with the toy and then it needs to be dumped. So what is the value of the toy? And then does it offer various benefits in order for their child to develop and learn from?
In terms of social media trends, what are you seeing at the moment that parents can look out for?
So we're seeing social media play a big part, whether that be TikTok or YouTube unboxing. But the big trends for this year are really Formula One across various categories, whether that be die-cast or Lego. We're also seeing the blind boxing trend still massive globally, and that has an element of surprise and that collectible nature around. The big hit this year is the Fugglers. I don't know if you come across Fugglers, but they, like a Squishmallow, have a series of products, and you almost collect those products. We're also seeing Gabby's Dollhouse being a big trend this year. Again, mini collectibles in the mini brands range, and lots of excitement around speed and tactile play.
And when we think about sustainability, how is that influencing innovation when it comes to toys? I have so many mom friends who will share like the amount of plastics that they end up having to get rid of, and because it's broken, you can't even donate it.
Yes, it is a tricky one in the toy space, but the big manufacturers and toy makers are responding with biodegradable packaging, and also toys that encourage kids to care for the planet. So it might not necessarily be in the product itself, but in how to look after that product and how to take care of our planet. So it is always a tricky question in the toy space, but there definitely has been a movement towards more sustainable material for the products.
And local manufacturers, local toy designers, are we gaining traction in that space? I remember when, the early black dolls were coming out, and now it's like there are so many offerings that are available. But in terms of not just kids being able to see themselves in toys, but us knowing that we made the toys, we designed them.
Yes, we do celebrate this moment, actually. And you're right, there are products of different ethnicities, and specifically Mattel for Barbie have done really well in this area where they've developed Barbies that have disabilities or have a different shape of a body, more curvy, different hairstyles, all sorts of things that represent different types of people. And from a local manufacturing perspective, it is slow in South Africa. However, there has been a lot of manufacturers that have come to us, and we're giving them a space in the stores and online to showcase their work, because we do believe in supporting local. And I think it's just about blending the global influence with local manufacturers, and how can we bring that to light.
What does the future look like in terms of smart toys? And should we as parents be concerned?
I don't know if concerned is the word, but embracing AI is something that we all sort of have to come to terms with. And it is a very exciting space. Things like 3D printers are up and coming. an avatar or a character impersonation of your child is sort of coming into the toys and they sort of can become another character. But the personalization and AI doesn't replace imagination. And I think that's where Toys R Us really play a key part, is that we believe in the power of play and the benefit that playing can incorporate into a child's development. And that is really key, is that we need to stay focused on core play. A day outside, having fun, a game of Uno. Nobody ever didn't learn a lesson from a game of Uno, whether that was winning a game or losing a game. There was some sort of lesson learned through play. And I think that is important to remember. It's about coming together. It's about thinking out the box and using your imagination, as opposed to having products that place a story in front of your eyes without having to think. So we really believe in driving that purpose of what play really means. And it is something, especially going into the festive season, that brings families together. And there's lots of laughs and maybe tears over toys and festive giving.
Catherine, thank you so much for chatting to us. Parents, Christmas is around the corner. You heard it here. It's just after 2:00.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Controversial businessman Brown Mabotja has refused to open a case after allegedly being shot at in what he claims was an attempted assassination. Mabotja has told police the incident involved unknown assailants in a white bakkie in Vosloorus, Ekurhuleni last night. A red Chevrolet sedan, which Mabotja is said to have been driving at the time, has been taken to the Vosloorus police station and is currently being examined by ballistic experts. The Northwest businessman is at the center of allegations of police corruption and is said to have acted as the middleman between senior police officials and underworld figures. Alfara Mashwana reports.
Police ballistic experts are analyzing and collecting physical evidence from the red Chevrolet, which was supposedly shot at during Brown Mabotja's alleged attempted hit. They've applied black polish and tape over the vehicle, collecting fingerprints and determining the number of bullets that struck the car. Police spokesperson Athlenda Mate says Mabotja was asked to open a case but refused.
So we are still waiting for Mr. Brown Mabotja to present himself before the Vosloorus police station as promised. We are told that he refused to open a case last night, citing fears for his life.
Police ended up opening an attempted murder case after Mabotja refused to do so himself. The businessman assured the police that he would present himself to the Vosloorus police station by 8:00 this morning to submit a statement. However, 5 hours later, Mabotja is still a no-show. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Vosloorus.
Deputy Police Minister Paulie Bushielo has told Parliament that she thought the directive to disband the Political Killings Task Team was fake. Bushielo has been giving evidence before the ad hoc committee investigating police corruption in Parliament today. Last week, her fellow Deputy Minister Kasal Matale also told the committee that he initially doubted the authenticity of the directive by Minister Senzo Mchunu on New Year's Eve last year. Babalondenze has more.
Deputy Minister Paulie Bushielo took the stand before the ad hoc committee, where she was also grilled about the disbanding of the Political Killings Task Team. Like most witnesses thus far, Bushielo says she wasn't aware of Senzo Mchunu's directive and only saw it on social media. She says Mchunu called her to confirm it wasn't fake.
I became aware of the minister's letter and directive, which was issued on the 31st of December 2024. While it was circulating in the social media, and I assumed it was fake until when the minister called me in the early January around 6-7 to inform me that the letter that was circulating was not fake. He wrote it himself.
Bushielo says she couldn't object or express her views on the directive because Mchunu has executive authority and used his powers accordingly. Babalondense, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
To the courts now, the Johannesburg High Court has ruled that the conduct of Operation Dudula of blocking foreign nationals from accessing clinics and schools is unlawful. In a judgment handed down today, the court has interdicted the group from performing the various actions. The case was filed by the Kopanang Africa Against Xenophobia group, represented by the Socio-Economic Rights Institute. The group wanted the court to prohibit Operation Dudula's actions, which they argued violated constitutional rights and the rule of law. Speaking on 702 earlier today, Health Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi says he met with Operation Dudula previously to warn them about the legal ramifications of their actions.
This was to be expected. I did meet Operation Dudula and I told them that whatever concerns they have, some of which might be legitimate, by the way, but I said they are going about using a wrong method.
To this now, the Independent Electoral Commission has set aside 2.1 billion rand for the upcoming local government elections. The elections could be held between November 2026 and January 2027. At a media briefing at the IEC headquarters today, the Commission said it's preparing for every possibility. Over the years, the Commission has complained about funding cuts which have limited its work, but IEC Deputy Chief Electoral Officer for Outreach, Mawetu Mozuri, says consultations with Treasury and the Finance Minister are still ongoing.
At this stage, we do not feel major constraints in us delivering a credible election for the country. With the budget available, we will do so.
And the G20 Extraordinary Committee of Independent Experts says the world is facing an inequality emergency. The committee, led by Nobel laureate Professor Joseph Stiglitz, says this inequality is not only unfair but can disrupt democracy too. It is recommending that South Africa establishes an international panel on inequality to support government. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
In August, President Cyril Ramaphosa established the task team of 6 experts to report to the G20 on the state of wealth and income inequality and their impacts on growth, poverty and multilateralism. As South Africa's G20 presidency draws to a close, the group has produced a more than 60-page report in which it recommends that, similar to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, South Africa establishes one on inequality that can inform and empower policymaking. The panel would be a technical body that would monitor existing and new research and assess gaps in knowledge. It would periodically produce assessments of the impacts of income and wealth inequality on other dimensions, such as health and opportunity. The report finds that 83% of countries, which account for 90% of the world's population, meet the World Bank's definition of high inequality. The experts say the overall income gap between countries of the global north and the global south remains very high. Stiglitz is due to present the report to the President this afternoon. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
Gold is trading at $3,992.98 an ounce. The rand is at 17.45 to the dollar, 22.81 to the pound, 20.09 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $64.89 a barrel.
Leaving the Joburg CBD heading towards Germiston, we still have bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is on the M2 eastbound between the Crown Interchange and Heidelberg Road. In Lombardy Estate, Pretoria, there's slow-moving traffic. This is on Graham Linwood Road between Boschkop Road and Solomon Mahlangu.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with afternoon showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 20 and 22 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, controversial businessman Brown Mabotja has refused to open a case after allegedly being shot at in what he claims was an attempted assassination.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja.
Live, streaming countrywide
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
9 minutes after 2 o'clock, the second and final hour of 7:02 afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja, on this Tuesday, the 4th of November. And we're going to be jumping into a brand new series for the month of November. And I'm so looking forward to this. Those of you that have wondered about surrogacy, have considered exploring that journey, we'll be having a series on the surrogacy journey in South Africa. Today's episode 1. Today we're covering understanding surrogacy. So what is it all about? What does it entail? We'll be joined by Dr. Paul Leroux, specialist in reproductive medicine, for that conversation. Then our car feature, Nicole Lowe joins us to take all of your technical car issues. You can already start to send them in early, but we'll also chat about oil viscosity and what those numbers on the oil can actually mean. Get in touch with us, 011 883 0702. SMS us 31702, tweet at Relebogile M at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702.
Series Edition.
Series Edition time, a brand new series for the month of November. We will once a week, every single Tuesday, take a moment to delve into the surrogacy journey in South Africa. Do not worry, we're not going to get through everything today. We will have other conversations where we delve deeper into the human aspect, into the legal aspect. Today's session is really about understanding surrogacy as a whole. And we're joined by Dr. Paul Leroux, specialist in reproductive medicine. We take your calls on 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Doctor, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much, Lebo. It's a great pleasure to join you, and I appreciate you inviting me on your very interesting segment today. Thank you.
I have been very fascinated with surrogacy, particularly in South Africa, because it's something that many people don't necessarily speak publicly about in terms of sharing their journeys. I've had the opportunity to interview a surrogate who did it for a family, and she shared the journey. But I think it also really helps to be able to not just, see one person's wonderful experience being a surrogate, being a married woman who was a mom before, versus many others that are curious about what surrogacy is all about, and also those that are possibly considering it. I want to kick off by sort of setting the baseline of when it comes to fertility in South Africa and where we are you finding, doctor, that more and more women and men, couples or singles, are struggling to fall pregnant and carry to term, deliver healthy babies on their own, that surrogacy is now a serious consideration?
Yeah, no, thank you, Lebo. It is true that there is an increasing demand for fertility services for various reasons. One of the main reasons is obviously that women have children at a later stage in their lives now, because women are studying and setting up their families and getting financially secure and traveling the world and so on. So people take a bit longer to settle down, and as women get older, the egg quality decreases. So this makes the whole fertility process more difficult. So we have more women that are coming to fertility clinics because of advanced maternal age, but there are very many other factors as well that lead patients to seek treatment more. And surrogacy is one of the more complex fertility treatments, but it is indicated in certain situations. So, a surrogate, essentially is someone who's going to carry a fertilized embryo from the beginning all the way through to delivery, but is not going to be a legal parent of the actual child. And the main reasons, that couples will request surrogacy is because there's something wrong with the uterus or the womb of the woman. So that's one of the most common reasons. So this will be reasons such as a woman's had a previous hysterectomy. So maybe she had a child before, and then during the delivery, she bled a lot, and the gynecologist had to remove her uterus in the process. So she doesn't have a womb anymore. And your only option is to use a surrogate for the next child. So that's one indication. And there are other reasons. For example, women who've had surgery on their womb, or they've got an abnormal uterus with some kind of medical problem. There are also people who take certain medications who can't be pregnant. They're taking very strong medication which might damage a growing fetus, and they would also need a surrogate to carry for them. And some examples would be, for example, some patients who've had a renal kidney transplant or something, and on a whole lot of different medications, and it might compromise them trying to be pregnant. Their medical condition could get worse. So those are some of the ideas. But there's obviously other reasons why people also do surrogacy when it's not straightforward man and woman couple. So there's a lot of same-sex male couples or gay couples. If they want to have a child, they require a surrogate. And also there's single men sometimes that also want a baby, and they would also require a surrogate. So those would be some of the sort of common reasons why people might want to do surrogacy.
I would love for you to just address the perception that some have, and maybe we saw it with, the Kardashians, for example, where Kim had a surrogate with her last two children, and there was a perception that, a woman want to now not have other women carry for them so that they don't have to ruin their bodies or gain weight and things like that. Can you maybe share the gravity of the process that it is highly unlikely that would be the case?
Yeah, so it does vary in different countries what the law might say. But in South Africa, our law is quite strict. So it says that you have to have a medically irreversible condition in order to use a surrogate. So in other words, you have to have some medical condition that does not allow you to carry the child safely from a medical perspective yourself. So you can't just say that you want someone else to carry the baby because you don't want stretch marks or something like that in South Africa, So, in South Africa, it's quite strict, and all the cases go to the High Court for assessment. And the fertility doctor has to write a report to explain what the medical irreversible condition is, and to convince the court that it's definitely necessary to go through this process, because it is a highly complex process, and the surrogate, in a way, is putting herself at risk being pregnant. So there should be a good reason why you go to these lengths to have a baby.
All right, we're going to take a break, Doctor. When we come back, we continue your calls and comments. 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 Rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer, or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 Rand, and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
You thought binge-watching hours of anime every weekend as a 39-year-old Zulu man would never pay off until your secret work crush said, "Do you know anything about Naruto?" Now, look at you. Origato and Sansei Sitore. Connected here, finding your favorites everywhere. Get the best Wi-Fi experience with prepaid fiber from OpenServe. No contracts, no credit checks. Ask your ISP for OpenServe fiber today. T's and C's apply.
Tani Esther, or should I say the Tupperware Tani? How's business going?
Business is booming. I've been operating out of the boot of my car for 10 years, but shame, it couldn't keep up with my growing empire.
Okay, so you sold it to We Buy Cars?
Yes, quick. Sold my old one, bought a bigger one. I even sold some of my Tupperware to the friendly guy who picked up my car.
Stick to what you know best, Tony?
Excuse me?
Never mind. We Buy Cars. Geared for your business, geared for you.
Before you throw it away,
Think again. Join the Glass Recycling Company's Recycling Challenge this November. Collect your glass bottles and jars, drop them at your nearest glass bank, and help your city climb the leaderboard. Each bottle counts towards a cleaner South Africa. Post your recycling pics on Facebook with hashtag Glass Recycling Challenge and stand a chance to win 5,000 Rand. Let's shatter records and clean up our cities with the Glass Recycling Company. T's and C's apply.
702.
Series Edition.
20 minutes after 2 o'clock, we continue with our series edition on the surrogacy journey in South Africa. Today, in this first episode, we're talking about understanding surrogacy. So what does it mean to carry for another audible one? 8830 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Doctor, I was curious about your thoughts. Let me say off the record thoughts, not with your doctor hat on, what your thoughts are on the fact that surrogacy was happening informally for a very long time in certain cultures where if the wife was not falling pregnant, the brother of the husband would step in and the other way around.
Yes, I think so. It's, certainly, they've, before 2005 in South Africa, that's when the surrogacy law was passed in 2005. So I worked in fertility medicine even before then. And those days, before the law was passed, if the surrogate delivered the baby would automatically be registered in the surrogate's name, because if you deliver a baby in a labor, they normally assign you to be the parent. So prior to 2005, you had to give the baby up for adoption. So it had to go through a whole adoption process between the surrogate and the couple. And this could be quite problematic because the couple would be scared the surrogate wouldn't give them the baby, and the surrogate would be scared that they wouldn't take the baby from her. So there's kind of fear on both sides to a certain degree. But that's how it was done prior to 2005. So when the surrogacy law was passed, it was much better because then everybody went to court first and got a court order so that when the child is born, it would automatically be transferred from the one person to the other. And that made it safer for everybody and much more acceptable. And most developed countries around the world have done that. But there's still many countries, especially in Africa, that have no surrogacy law. So there's still a lot of adoption going on, where other people are carrying, a baby for somebody. And in some countries, they do interesting things, like in Sweden, for example, there's no surrogacy law. And there they actually do uterine transplants, where they transplant a uterus from one person to another to try and get around this problem.
Wow.
But surrogacy is much more effective as a fertility procedure. So in South Africa, we, in a way, lucky. We've got a very good law, and our surrogacy procedures work really well. So we can help the people that actually really need that, But there has also been, as you mentioned, a sort of undercover surrogacy that would sometimes happen between families, but it can be legally a big problem if there is anything goes wrong.
I think what some of the families would do is just hide the birth certificate until the truth comes out much, much later. But I see quite a few questions coming in. Before we get to them, Doctor, please explain the difference between the surrogacies where the one has to do with, let's say I need a surrogate, and it's not just because I can't carry, but also I don't have eggs. So I'm not just getting a surrogate, it's also somebody else's egg, and if it can be the surrogate's egg, and the one where it is my egg, or in the case of as you mentioned, gay couples where they will have, if it's a lesbian couple, the one will have the partner's egg in her. So you can just explain the difference with the yes.
They'll explain. So basically, normally in fertility clinics, when we put an embryo into a surrogate, it's not her egg, okay? So if the embryo is created first from what we call the commissioning parents, which is the man and the woman, for example, that want to create an embryo, and then that embryo is placed into the surrogate. So the surrogate's more like an incubator, or like the oven for the bun to go in, whichever way you want to say it in the easy way. But that person basically is normally carrying the embryo of another person, and we call that a full gestational surrogate. So normally in fertility clinics, we only do full gestational surrogates. We don't use a surrogate's own eggs because it creates too much of a link between the surrogate and the baby. It makes it more difficult, at the end when the surrogate must give up the baby to the other person. So yeah, in the old days, they used to do a partial surrogate where they were trying to use the surrogate's eggs as well. But as I mentioned, it creates more psychological problems later. So most fertility clinics will only do full gestational surrogacy. In the case of a same-sex male couple, what they will do is they will choose one of the partner's sperm, and then they will use an egg donor. So that's separate from the surrogate. So they'll get a donated egg, and they'll fertilize it with one of their sperm and make an embryo. Once the embryo is created, then that embryo is then placed into the surrogate. So it's not her egg. She's just carrying the embryo for that couple. In terms of same-sex female couples where sometimes we do a procedure, we call it reciprocal IVF, where the one same-sex woman's egg is used and the other one carries it in her womb. But this is not a surrogacy procedure. It's very important to explain. A surrogate means that the person won't be a legal parent, whereas in a same-sex female couple, they both want to be legal parents. So this is basically a sort of a form of IVF, but it's not strictly surrogacy because both of them end up being a legal parent in the end.
Okay, so some of the questions that are coming through, Cindy Midrand says, can I get a surrogate after I've had the maximum number of C-section procedures? As in, do they qualify as she has had 3?
She's just asking, can a surrogate still proceed as a surrogate if she's done 3 cesarean sections?
No, as in, does she qualify to get a surrogate to carry for her because she's had now 3 C-sections?
Okay.
So does she
No, I
qualify
understand, yes.
as medically allowed to?
No, this is not actually a reason for surrogacy. And it's quite an important thing because having 3 cesarean sections, it's almost like quite a South African thing, like an old school idea that if you had 3 cesarean sections, you were greatly compromised and you couldn't have more children. And I think it may have been in the old days, it was more risky having cesarean sections in rural settings, for example, and it was more dangerous where you didn't have skilled surgeons to do the cesarean section because every time you do a Caesar, there's a little bit more scar tissue that can form inside. But in a setting where you have good surgeons and good hospitals, there's nothing really that limits you to 3 cesarean sections. And certainly if you speak to obstetricians in Europe and America, they don't know what you're talking about if you say there's a problem after 3 sections. So I think it's a sort of South African old school thing, but we wouldn't really worry about that. It's not specifically a reason not to have a child.
Oh, this is an interesting one. Doctor, is there a chance of the surrogate's genes or DNA being in the unborn child, egg and male seed planted in the surrogate? So is there a transfer of anything?
There's not normally transfer of the DNA code because the embryo is created outside the surrogate. So the DNA coding is coming from the male and the female. So there's not really DNA material that's being transferred from the surrogate, but it is, look, medicine is very complicated and there is actually some interaction between a person who carries an embryo and the embryo in terms of gene expression, which is a different thing called epigenetics. So what happens there is there are many, many different genes that are in an embryo, and which ones are turned on or off actually depends a bit on the uterine environment. So there is a bit of modification in terms of how the genes might be expressed, but the DNA coding is coming from the commissioning parents here.
This is an interesting one. Relebogile, please ask Doctor, can same-sex men, couples, have both their sperms used?
Basically, technically, obviously, with each embryo, you can only put 1 sperm into each egg in order to make an embryo. So each embryo that's made will be coming from 1 biological parent. You can't inject 2 different sperm into 1 egg. Sometimes people who are doing same-sex couples, they might create a few different embryos and they might use one embryo for the first child and then later on use another embryo in the surrogate to use the other partner's sperm. But generally, we will select which partner wants to go first, and then we will transfer the embryo from that, whoever they decide wants to go first, yeah.
Your final thoughts that you'd like to share with us, Doctor? I mean, we are so fortunate that we're going to have a few weeks of this journey focusing, on more details like the element of the surrogate themselves and the legal parts as well.
Yeah, I think I think the surrogacy in South Africa is quite well regulated, and the courts are quite strict in terms of doing it. But there are still issues, and the surrogacy law is currently being redrafted a bit. So there's issues about the fact that the commissioning parents currently have to be domiciled or live in South Africa. The issues about, is there a specific age in which a commissioning parent can be, to access a surrogate. There's obviously the issue that surrogacy is not for commercial gain in South Africa. So the way that you recruit a surrogate is also quite important, so that you don't offer, commercial incentives and so on. So there are still always going to be sort of interesting, controversial aspects of surrogacy. And I guess it's something that will keep evolving, and people will hopefully keep making better laws and better ethical guidelines to make sure that the couples and the surrogates are well looked after.
Doctor, thank you so much for your time. All of your questions that we didn't get to, we will carry them over into the next episode. It's just after 2:30. Time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. There is still some uncertainty around the facts in the alleged attempted hit on controversial businessman Brown Mabotja. 3 bullets struck the driver and passenger seats of the vehicle he says he was travelling in last night, yet he emerged unscathed. Mabotja alleges that unknown assailants driving a white bakkie attacked him in Vosloorus in Ekurhuleni last night. The red Chevrolet, which Mabotja was supposedly driving, is now at the Vosloorus police station where ballistic experts are examining it. CCTV footage showing a possible shady deal between a police officer and Sandton businessman Katiso Katie Molefe has been shared with the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry today. Sergeant F. Nkosi, a member attached to the organised crime unit in Gauteng, has been identified as the cop. Nkosi was previously named as the alleged middleman in money dealings between suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibia as well as criminal accused tender tycoon Vusimuzi Kat Matlala. And in Rome, the prosecutor's office has opened an investigation into the collapse of a medieval tower. This after authorities confirmed the death of a worker who was trapped after parts of that tower collapsed. The 66-year-old was pulled free nearly 12 hours after a section of the tower on the edge of the famous Roman Forum and close to the Colosseum gave way. Those are the headlines, this EWN and more at 3 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Lombardy Estate, Pretoria, traffic remains sluggish on Graham Linwood Road between Boschkop Road and Solomon Mahlangu. Joburg CBD heading towards Germiston. There's also slow-moving traffic M2 eastbound between Heidelberg Road and the Crown Interchange and Heidelberg Road. Also bumper-to-bumper traffic leaving the Joburg CBD heading towards the Rivoli. M2 westbound between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. Look out for those roadworks in the Calvin Alex area. That is on the N3 in both directions. This is causing delays between the Butlu Interchange and London Road. Traffic lights still not working in Rand Park Ridge at Bayers Nordier and the N1, as well as in Edenville and Morafontein Road and Van Riebeck. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Part of the 702 family.
From the undeniable chemistry of Bongani and Adam on The World View, to hanging out with Clement, to sports and good things too with Mandy and Brent, discussing the upside of failure with Relebogile Mabotja, to a song, a book and a dish with John. Who can forget Stephen navigating us through personal finance? 702 has everything for everyone. It's informative, it's witty, it's real. Let's walk the talk. Balisa in Waterfall.
Welcome to our 702 family. Let's walk the talk.
Building a life across borders starts with choices. Visas, a second passport, citizenship, your child's education abroad. And sometimes those choices can be overwhelming. For 30 years, Sable International has simplified global mobility, including cross-border tax, forex, and wealth management, helping you make the right choices with expertise and care. Build your future beyond borders. Visit us at sableinternational.com.
I'm Samela Kelboy, an actress and mom to 3 lovely kids. I worry about how sugar can make them sick. Drinking sugary drinks could lead to diabetes, heart disease, and obesity as they get older. Diabetes is one of the top causes of death in South Africa. I'm joining the fight to demand government puts our health ahead of greedy industry profits. Government must act now. Increase the health promotion levy on sugary drinks. Sign the petition on healer.org. That's HEALA.org.
Year in, year out, we're fixing tires faster than a Formula One pit crew. My team is on top of things like tire whisperers. If an unforeseen accident were to happen in my workshop, at least I've got My Way business insurance to keep the wheels turning.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
Coming up
on 702 Drive with John Perlman.
702 Drive with John Perlman is coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. John, how are you doing?
Yes, doing well, thanks. Good afternoon to you. Hope you're well too.
I am doing really well, and I want to find out from you about anything interesting that's happened in your community WhatsApp groups or complex or estate or apartment WhatsApp groups.
Not always a lot of communication on WhatsApp groups, but there is one, and there's one thing that really irritates me, where people say, "What's that noise?" but it's coming from an apartment like really close to them. So what do they expect? First of all, the person making the noise is not going to say, "Oh, it's just me. I'm playing heavy metal again."
It's the voices in your head. It's what.
No, but I mean, you know, why don't you just go? So this idea that WhatsApp, because implicit in that is saying, "Oh, can someone else now go and sort this out?" You know, now if it's a security issue, security must deal with it. But people sometimes use those groups to avoid doing their kind of personal neighborly stuff, you know, which is just go and say, "Hi, what's happening here, guys?
Yes.
We're trying to sleep." I don't know.
For me, the one that killed me is the WhatsApp group where the two neighbors that are not speaking to each other, the one said, "Please check for my missing cat," and the other one said, "There's a missing cat that I've found," and then the same person whose cat was missing says, "My cat is still not back," and then the other one says, "The SPCA has been called to come and collect the missing cat I found." It was the same cat, but because they don't speak to one another.
Okay.
So everyone in the group is just observing and laughing at this situation. Very fascinating. What's coming up on your show today?
Yeah, talking about people who don't talk properly to each other. So, good afternoon, everyone. So, obviously, huge focus on the South African police through the Madlanga Commission and what Parliament is busy engaged with. But what's also come up from the Auditor General is massive amounts, and we're talking over 3 billion rand in irregular expenditure of various kinds. And we want to analyze that a lot more closely, because all of these things, to my mind, are connected. If you're not running your procurement properly and honestly and effectively, well, surprise, you're going to have all this other stuff as well. We're going to dig into that after 4 o'clock. We'll go to the Madlanga Commission, which has been particularly interesting today. Oren Singh keeping an eye on that. Head of Crime Intelligence, General Dumisani Kumalo, is back and laying down some really important things. Voter registration numbers are out. What do they tell us about, first of all, the appetite of younger people for politics, but secondly, who do these numbers favor. If you look at political trends, we'll look at that sometime after 3 o'clock. You know, Relebogile, we've had solar panels for long enough now as a kind of quite common household item for people to now be wondering, how do you actually recycle them? Because they're either being replaced or people moving house but not taking the panel, whatever. So we're going to look at that in our green tip of the week, and we'll see what else comes up. And then, of course, the issue around was Brown Mokgotzi's car shot at in the way that he describes. Alpha Ramushwan is out at the Vosloorus police station. He was meant to go there, not Alpha, but Mr. Mokgotzi, to open a case that was meant to happen at 8 o'clock this morning. Last time I looked, it hadn't happened, but Alpha's there and he'll update us at about 3:20.
All right, that's 7:02 Drive with John Perlman coming up from 3 to 6 p.m.
7:02.
The car feature.
Car feature time. And today we're joined by technical car expert Nicole Lowe. We take your calls on 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Get all your technical car questions in for Nicole, and we will then be jumping into chatting about oil. Nicole, how are you doing?
Hi, Relebogile. Hi, listeners. All good, and yourself?
I'm doing well, Nicole. Chat to us about oil viscosity.
Yes, so a lot of people buy oil, but they don't really know what the numbers on the oil can mean. So I know we talk about 10W40 or 5W20. Have you got a clue?
Listen, none whatsoever.
Okay, so viscosity is a term. The meaning of this viscosity, the explanation is it's basically the resistance against flow. So to put it in layman terms, so honey will have a high viscosity and water will have a low viscosity. So when it flows easy, the viscosity is low. When it's sort of honey, then it's a high viscosity. So the problem with oil is it reacts in a similar way with temperature. So when oil gets hot, the viscosity gets lower, or it flows easier. When it's cold, and I'm talking about even like minus temperatures, then the oil sort of solidifies and it becomes more difficult for it to flow. Now, that is a big problem in your vehicle because your engine is starts at cold and then goes to operating temperature, and you want that the oil to do its job at all temperatures. So in the good old days, you had a monograde oil. We call it like a SAE 30 or SAE 40, which means it was a monograde. It was only behaving like a single viscosity oil. So back in the day, that was like tough luck. That's what you got. But now with multigrade oils, that's why you have two numbers. So the 10W40, the number in front of the W means the winter temperature, how the oil will react under cold conditions. And we're talking about minus 18 degrees. So if it's cold, that oil will react like a SAE 10, so a low viscosity oil. So at cold temperatures, it will flow easier. That's the easy way of thinking of it. And then when the engine is at operating temperature, which is between about 90 to 100 degrees oil temperature, then that oil will react as a SAE 40. So it actually then reacts as a thicker oil at the higher temperatures, so to give you the same qualities, the same way it protects your engine. So what is also interesting to note is that you will see the numbers getting lower and lower with time. So we get like a 0W15 oil now. And the reason for that is the viscosity is getting lower and lower. Modern engines, the tolerances are getting less and less, smaller and smaller. So what they're trying to do is to lessen the frictional losses in the engine by having a lower viscosity oil. So there's less friction losses, the engine is becoming more efficient, that's what we all want, better fuel economy. The problem is, if you've got a vehicle that's an old classic vehicle, or it's a vehicle that's done a lot of miles, say over 300,000 kilometers, the tolerances in the engine is much larger than it used to be when it's new, and obviously the classic cars, they never had tight tolerances in the first place. Never use one of these new low viscosity oils in an engine with high mileage or an old classic vehicle, because the viscosity is too low to give you the protection that you actually need. In that case, it's better to go to the higher viscosity oils like your 20W, 20W50 to give you that protection, even with an engine with larger or higher tolerances.
Yeah, those are interesting things that many of us were completely not aware of. So thank you so much for educating us, Nicole. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we continue with our car feature and we open up the lines to you for all of your technical car questions. 011 883 0702. The WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
The Department of Social Development says statutory rape in the Eastern Cape has become a scourge. While the Children's Act makes it mandatory for professionals to report such crimes, Deputy Director General Zuliswa Ganka says many don't know how to complete the paperwork to report the cases. Social workers are also overburdened by their caseload.
We are not able to efficiently and effectively support the victims.
She says many social workers also fear reprisal if they do report statutory rape cases.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
We get told to wait for things. Wait for the right moment. Wait for a rainy day. Wait till the cows come home. Cows? Really? Well, the waiting is over because the Decofurn Furniture Black Friday Super Sale is now on, and with 15 to 40% and more off everything for the whole of November. What are you waiting for? The Decofurn Black Friday Super Sale, now on, in-store or at decofurnsa.co.za.
Access to the internet is vital for any country to grow. That's why the recent 6.75 billion rand digital infrastructure deal that Standard Bank Corporate and Investment Banking facilitated between Telkom and an Actors-led consortium is so transformational for South Africa. It unlocks growth and provides internet access to underserved communities who will now have access to the internet for the very first time. Search CIB Stories of Impact to watch the full story.
Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Hey, Laura. The unmistakable voice of jazz and soul returns to South Africa, Gregory Porter. Join the two-time Grammy Award winner for 3 intimate performances now at Teatro Monte Casino on the 20th, 21st and 22nd of November. Don't miss one of the greatest voices of our time, Gregory Porter, live. Book now at showtime.co.za.
702.
The car feature.
13 minutes to 3 o'clock. We continue with our car feature. We're together with Nicolo, our technical car expert. The lines are open for all of your technical car issues. Get in touch with us, 011 883 0702 in the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. All right, first question for you, Nicole. My Tiguan automatically goes off at certain traffic lights. What could be the problem?
Going off, so shutting down. Sorry, just repeat the question.
Oh, okay. Let me repeat that. My Tiguan automatically goes off at certain traffic lights. What could be the problem?
Okay, I can just imagine the engine is shutting down. That's the only thing I can think of, which is an interesting one. Obviously, that's an idle condition if you're at a traffic light. And obviously, it's automatic, so you would be in drive, which put a bit of extra resistance on the engine. So maybe the idle condition is the problem. So the idle condition of an engine is a very delicate a process because it's obviously very little load going through the engine, and it's a very little air going in and very little fuel, and then obviously your spark. So first of all, the vehicle must be fully serviced, that you at least know that everything is fine in the engine. But then what I would say is concentrate on the idle condition, because it's either shutting down because it's not getting spark or fuel or air. The air is normally controlled by idle control valve, which can also become dirty and then doesn't let the air through in the right amounts to the fuel, and then it can die. So also check your idle speed, even if it's not in drive, if it's in neutral. Just check that it's stable, that the idle speed is stable, that the needle is completely stable. If it's a bit erratic, you know that is the problem. So if it's erratic, it goes up and down, And sometimes if it dips, say, it normally idles at 800 RPM and it goes to 500 RPM, it's quite close to actually shutting down or just dying and you have to restart. So, yeah, I would say a technician should be able to sort that out. Maybe you can also do a diagnostic check to see if there's any faulty sensors and so on. The long shot is also obviously if the transmission is putting too much drag on the engine that it's actually dragging it down, but I don't think it's that. I think it's more an unstable idle condition that can be a result of either some dirt somewhere or a sensor that's not right, something like that that's causing it.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. The next one says, is there a formula to guide you when your car is starting to become too expensive to keep, i.e. cost of annual breakdowns versus car value? Oh, and I'm sure many people want to know that. Nickel, what is your advice?
That is always an interesting one because I think in the back of our minds we all want new cars. So we sometimes try to skew the equation so that it will look like no, I definitely need to get another car. I can't afford another battery.
It's the same as cell phones where you hear there's a new upgrade coming, then you're like, this battery.
But there is sometimes a tipping point where you just need to say, okay. But what I would say is the new cars are so expensive now. So if you work out what a new car will cost you in monthly repayments, and don't go for those balloon payments and those kind of things. I'm not a financial expert, but I'm just talking my opinion. If you go for the massive balloon payment in the end, you actually cannot afford the car in the first place. So if you go with a standard repayment scheme over 5 years, what is your monthly payment? And then it depends on what are you paying to keep your car that you've got now on the road. Where I see a tipping point is when, for example, if you're driving a German car, a full luxury car, and it's now getting old, those cars are starting to get really expensive to keep on the road because there's a lot of electronics. And Germany is one thing, it's all the luxury cars really. If it's a high-end luxury car that's getting now 15 years old, 20 years old, there's just statistically so many things that can go wrong and so many things that will cost you money. That there will be a tipping point where you say you're spending X amount per month, and for that amount, if you're spending it continuously month after month, then you might as well just if the repayment is lower than that figure, it makes complete sense to buy a newer car. But then also think of the newer car you're buying. It all depends. Obviously, it will have a service plan and it's a 5-year warranty that will help. But after that, you're again in a situation where you're going to pay for the repairs yourself. So maybe you're running a luxury car now and it's costing an arm and a leg. Maybe that will point you towards your new car. Need to be a simpler car. Maybe it's a cheaper car. It's maybe a car from Japan or Korea. But historically it's been reliable. It hasn't got all the fancy features. It also is not so fancy if you pitch up at a party, but it will, in the long run, save you a lot of money. There's also a point where you can maybe think, maybe I just need to buy a newer second-hand car that's maybe more reliable. So that's the other question as well. Shouldn't you just look at something that is maybe a year or 2 years old, but will be more reliable? So it is a calculation that's a tricky one. You need to figure it out for yourself, but don't let that urge of a new car skew the equation.
All right, thank you so much for that question. Hi, I have the new BMW X3. My car basically shut off while driving on the highway one day. My fuel tank showed half tank still. When it went to BMW for diagnostics, they said my fuel sensor came off in the tank. Please explain, how is this possible? It said drive terrain error as well, and the vehicle didn't want to start.
That's a very strange one. I wonder, does it say petrol or diesel?
They didn't specify.
Okay. So there isn't really a fuel sensor that can fall off in the tank. The only sensor that's in the tank itself is a fuel level, which measures obviously the volume of fuel in the tank. That also relays the message to your instrument cluster showing you the level of fuel. Now, if it's a diesel vehicle, there is sort of a run dry prevention that when it actually runs dry, it will shut off the engine and won't allow you to restart. And that's actually to protect your injectors and your high pressure pumps on the diesel engine, so not to get any air in there, because the fuel is also your lubrication, the diesel. So in that sense, if somehow that sensor failed and it told the engine control unit that the tank is completely empty, it might actually go through that routine where it will shut down the engine and not allow it to restart. Normally, that's only in a diesel. It won't happen in a petrol. So unfortunately, we don't know in this case if it was petrol or diesel. But yeah, the other thing is if it shuts down, the only reason the engine will shut down by itself, if it's not getting fuel, it's not getting air, or it's not getting, if it's a petrol engine, spark, electronics. That's the only reason why it will shut down. So if they say it's a fuel problem, there's quite a few reasons why the fuel would not get to the engine. It can be from the petrol pump or the fuel pump, the diesel pump. It even be the fuel filter that gets clogged. There's a lot of reasons why fuel will not get to the engine. But it can also be a sensor problem. The one in the transmission, the other fault that was there is also interesting, because sometimes there's a protection strategy that will also maybe it can limit torque, limp home function. I don't know if it will quite shut down the engine though. And the reason why that it didn't want to restart, that's another clue. So the sensor falling off into the tank, I don't really quite believe that. Maybe it's a faulty sensor.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. Everybody's chosen to be anonymous today, Nicole, for some reason. The next one says, I drive an Audi A3 I'm not sure, 1.0 30T FSI. I have a warning light that says gearbox malfunction, continue to drive till switch the engine off. The car's on 260,000 kilometers. What can I replace? The car's still running well.
That's an interesting one. I would take it for a diagnostic scan, because if the message is on the instrument cluster, there's definitely a code locked. I would expect then this will be an automatic, so it might be the S-Tronic, which is the dual clutch transmission. In VW speak, it will be DSG. So maybe there's something wrong with the transmission that was picked up, and a diagnostic code will tell you exactly what it is. It's just interesting that the car is still driving 100% fine with that fault present. What the diagnostic, what they can do if they plug the tool in, is they can clear that fault and see if it returns. So maybe something happened to the transmission. It thinks something went wrong. It sets the code. It displayed the message, but maybe the problem went away and it's not present anymore, because you expect something to be wrong with the transmission. It's either jerky, or you won't get full power from the engine because it's a limp home function that's invoked. So I would say definitely get the code checked out, what it exactly is, get it cleared, see if it comes back. If it doesn't come back, then it's all fine.
All right, last one very quickly. We've got a voice note.
Hi, Nico. Please advise where I can get the SBC pump for Mercedes-Benz W211. Thank you.
Yo, he mentioned a pump, a SP pump. I couldn't quite make the code out.
SBC pump.
SBC. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what that might be. The code sounds be more like one of the more classic Mercedes. Maybe that is the problem why it's looking for it. Maybe the dealership don't stock it anymore. What I would find with, especially if it's second-hand parts that you need, is a lot of online places will sell second-hand parts, and even something like Facebook Marketplace. Be careful of scammers, but that can help. But what I also found very useful, if you join a group, a Facebook group with your specific model, even if it's just a generalized Mercedes South Africa group, but then there's quite a few of these owners group on specific models, and you can ask the question there. And there's definitely people with more knowledge than myself who would tell you exactly where you can find parts like that.
All right, thank you so much for your questions, Nicola. I'll be back together with you soon.
Live extra with Checkers, SA's #1 in value supermarket. Save big on deals like a Quelle Natural Still or Sparkling Spring Water, a 500ml 6-pack for $36.99. Kellogg's Cornflakes cereal 1 kg for $74.99. And buy 3 Colgate selected toothpastes, 50 or 75ml, and get the cheapest one free. Valid until Sunday at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
There's a song that goes, "Money can't buy me love." And that's true. But then they told us all you need is love, which anybody with a mortgage will tell you most certainly is not true. Love won't pay your parking tickets or your student loan. It's also needy. It requires effort, availability, constant care. But more importantly, love requires time. And while money can't buy you love, it can certainly free up some of your time. Time to spend on the things you love, with the people you love. And if you're looking, maybe even time to find the one you love. That's why, after 50 years of investing, we've learned that time is the greatest gift of all. And the good news is, if you invest early, time gives you money. And then money gives you more time to do the things you love. And don't you love that about investing? Ellen Gray, long-term investing. Ellen Gray is an authorized FSP.
Did you know that all residential complexes are legally required to register with the Community Scheme Ombud Service, or CSOS? Registration is easy and it's free. All registered schemes can access a quick and affordable alternative dispute resolution body and can also learn more about the rights and responsibilities of people living within a community scheme. We'd like to appeal to all unregistered community schemes to register with the CSOS today. Visit csos.org.za to find out more.
Thank you so much for joining us. PrimeMediaPlus.com or download the app to catch up. It's 3 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Police make a breakthrough in the Reiger Park drive-by shooting incident. And did someone really try to get rid of businessman Brown Mabotja? Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Let's begin with news just in. Police have arrested a 23-year-old suspect for his... Let's begin with news.